All right, we do now want to go to Capitol Hill, where we're joined by GOP Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama. Hi, Congressman. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us this hour. First off,
my pleasure.
Thank you. The pressing matter of the day, of course, of the week, making the Mueller report public. We understand new reports say the report will go to Congress first before the president has had a chance to review it for executive privilege. Now, what's your take on executive privilege? Do you still think the report should be made public, seeing as you were one of the congressmen who did vote in favor of releasing the report earlier this month?
Well, I am in favor of releasing the entire report. However, there are probably parts of it that are subject to executive privilege, and there are other parts that you don't disclose because traditionally, by way of example, grand jury proceedings are considered to be secret. There may be other factors that come into play there. So we're going to have to be patient as the legal process weighs in on this as to what should be and can be lawfully disclosed and what cannot.
All right, so we've heard a lot of back and forth and a lot of partisan bickering within Congress. Democrat Congressman Adam Schiff doubling down on collusion, saying a conspiracy does exist, despite Attorney General William Barr's assessment of the Mueller report. Now, do you believe that Adam Schiff should resign from his position as chairman of the Intelligence Committee?
I really don't have an opinion on whether Adam Schiff should be chair of the Intelligence Committee or not. We might get someone who's even more radical socialist, as incredible as that may seem, than Adam Schiff. So we'd have to ponder that, but that's not what I'm here for today. I'm more than happy to talk about the details of the report. I'm more than, so far as they're made public, and I'm also more than happy to talk about how the Socialist Democrats and their fake news media allies have now for more than 2 years been using what's known as the big lie propaganda tactic to attack President Trump and those that support his Make America Great Again agenda. And that's the real travesty of all this in America, is how they've resorted to that big lie tactic without the supporting evidence that is necessary to level these kinds of charges.
Right, so the results have certainly seemed to have emboldened the president. We saw him on Capitol Hill yesterday joining Republican senators. Now, it seems to be a different story, though, on the Democrat side of the aisle. Democrat leaders trying to move away and focus on policy issues. But then we have some far-left House members still calling for impeachment. Do you think this division in the Democrat Party is going to help the president's re-election bid?
Well, certainly the fact that the Democrats have relied on a big lie propaganda tactic for over 2 years ought to adversely affect their reputations and electability in the 2020 elections. So it ought to help the House of Representatives go back to Republicans. It ought to strengthen our hand in the United States Senate, and it also ought to help President Trump get reelected. The general public, by and large, should not want to have people who engage in lying to this degree as the Socialist Democrats have done for so long.
All right, interesting take. I do want to shift focus now, Congressman. The Democrats failed to obtain enough votes, as we know, to override the president's veto of his national emergency declaration at the southern border. Do you think the Democrats will give up the fight over the border wall? Will they move on from this?
To me, it's quite clear that the Democrats see open borders as a long-term political strategy. Let's look at what happens when illegal aliens come into America. If you look at dependency on welfare, over 70% of households that have an illegal alien in them are on welfare. You also look at the ethnicity or race of illegal aliens. By and large, you add these two factors together, and the Democrats know that their welfare theme plays well to these types of individuals, as does their racial division campaign theme play well. So the Democrats are willing to die on their sword because they see long-term this is the way for them to perpetuate long-term power. And probably the best example of that is the knowledge that each year at least 30,000 Americans are dead because of our porous southern border. You've got a couple of thousand on average who die at the hands of illegal aliens through homicides and other types of killings. And then you've got over 30,000 Americans who are dead each year because of their dependence on poisonous addictive drugs that are shipped through our porous southern border by drug cartels. So even though we have over 30,000 Americans who are dead each year as a result of the Socialist Democrats' open borders policies, they persist in insisting on open borders. And the adverse effect, the consequence, those dead Americans tells you how committed the Democrats are to pursuing this open border strategy. If 30,000 dead Americans is not enough dead to get the Democrats to do what should be done to protect American lives, what is?
All right, and we certainly saw President Trump campaign on this issue, or helping those that were campaigning in 2018 on this issue. So I would imagine this to be a major platform heading into 2020 as well. Before I let you go, Congressman, the Senate approved a motion to advance a disaster relief bill. It's going to help assist recovery efforts in your home state, of course, that is still dealing with recovery efforts after those tornadoes. Do you expect colleagues on the opposite end of the aisle there to come to a reasonable agreement on this important issue?
Well, I anticipate that disaster relief at some point is going to sail through the House and the Senate. There are some details that have to be worked out, and we need to limit it to fair and reasonable disaster relief, not something exorbitant that we don't have the money for. But eventually, that kind of legislation, it will pass. It has passed in the past, and I anticipate it will pass in the future.
All right, and certainly an important issue to address there. Of course, something your state is not new to experiencing, but it never makes it any much easier. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us, Congressman. Always good to have you. Thank you so much.